The NFL draft is done and over, and I am going to be breaking down each and every team and grading out their draft. So check back every day, because one team I will do every single day, and I'll have it up here on YouTube for you to watch. We'll go over every prospect that they drafted, as well as some key undrafted free agents that they may bring in. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, and I'll be sure to address them for you. Also, just be aware on my draft grades, no one fails the draft, especially right after it. Even no one in this draft is going to get a D or an F from me, because everyone had a talent. Everyone did something. So if you think the grades are a little bit high, that's just me not going to too much extremes. And maybe in 3 or 4 years, when we look back on this draft, then we can see who really succeeded and who really failed. So sit back, relax, enjoy me as I break down every single team this year. The draft expert, Shane Hallam, shows off his knowledge. Writing mock drafts, prospects from the best college. Breaking down tape, he might develop a man crush. Tearing up guys, taking questions in a rush. Comparisons, learning lessons, Shane saves the day, oy vey. Hulk or Banner, doesn't matter. Listen, cause here's who can play. Alright, today we're going to start off with the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore Ravens, I thought, had a pretty good draft as a whole. They traded out of the first round from number 25 so Denver could go up and get Tim Tebow. And they still got a pretty good pick in the second round. They took Sergio, Kindle, linebacker out of Texas. This is a guy that I really liked as a pure pass rusher. A guy that was very productive 2 years ago, fell off a little bit. The reason he fell down draft boards was because of his knee issues. Some think that he's going to have bone-on-bone knees down the line. He's going to need microfracture surgery. Could put him out of the NFL, actually. So it's a little bit of a risk, but he's a perfect pass rusher for the Ravens system and an eventual replacement for Terrell Suggs. In the second round later, they actually took Terrence, Cody, nose tackle out of Alabama. And this guy's a mammoth. He's at one point hit 370, 380 pounds. Now, he shaved some weight off before the NFL draft because that's what teams were asking him to do. So the big question is, can he keep that weight off? He's only kept weight off twice in his life, and that was when he was being recruited by Alabama, and then, secondly, before the NFL draft. So will he bubble up, and will he care when he gets all that money? That's the big question there, but he's a really nice nose tackle that can eat up space in the middle. Good for that defense that Baltimore runs. He can take multiple blockers on, allow Haloti Ngata, Terrell Suggs, and Sergio Kindle, Ray Lewis, all to get the tackles that they need. So he's a guy that is a bit reminiscent of Sam Adams, who played for the Baltimore Ravens, and might be a very good fit. In the third round, they selected Ed Dickson, tight end out of Oregon. Ed Dickson is a tight end that really wasn't asked to block very much in Oregon in that spread offense. He usually ran out of the slot, but very good hands, very good at running his routes. He's a guy that doesn't do a whole lot after the catch, but he was very physical, and he's really a nice fit, probably a replacement for Todd Heap. And then in the fourth round, they selected another tight end, Dennis Pitta, out of BYU. Pretty similar player to Ed Dickson. He's a little bit more physical than Dickson. Doesn't do as much after the catch as Dickson does, but Dennis Pitta has some of the surest hands of any tight end in this draft. A very good red zone target. Most likely a value pick for the Baltimore Ravens with Dennis Pitta, and they're just getting more pass catchers, more weapons for Flacco. So if you got Pitta, you got Dickson, you got Bolden, now you have Mark Layton, Derek Mason, Dante Stallworth, obviously Ray Rice coming out of the backfield. So a lot of different weapons. That's what they were going for here. In the fifth round, they selected David Reed, wide receiver out of Utah, and he's a guy that can do a couple different things. He's pretty good return man, something they'll probably give him a shot at doing. He's a bigger wide receiver, a guy that plays very physical, not overly aggressive, doesn't have a whole lot of speed, but he's a guy that can play in the slot and someone that can be a nice reserve wide receiver you can groom for a while. In the fifth round, they got a real steal with Arthur Jones, D-tackle out of Syracuse. This is a guy that's probably going to kick out to a 5 technique in their defense. He's someone that has major issues in terms of getting motivated. There were a lot of games that he took plays off. He also has some major injury issues, especially in the leg area, And those are things that concern teams. But when you watch him on tape, when he's motivated 100%, this is a guy that is it's very difficult to block him. It's very tough to stop him. And that's what a lot of teams commented on. So it could end up being a pretty big steal for them if he works out to his potential. Then in the 6th, they got Ramon Harewood out of Morehouse. This is a guy that's a big inline blocker, a guy that's a mauler. He'll knock you down. He'll rough you up. Small school guy, going to need a little bit of training. He needs to get his technique finalized. He needs to get his feet a little bit better in terms of space. But this is a guy I really like, and I thought it was a very nice pickup for the Ravens. All in all, I give him an A-, which for me is a pretty good grade. The reason for the A- is I still think they had some issues in the secondary that they did not address in this draft, and they're probably going to look for veterans. I think it's still going to be one of their downfalls for this team. That being said, with the move of Anquan Bolden, they still got an excellent draft, even with giving up draft picks for him. So you toss that into the mix, and you have a lot of weapons on offense. This is one of the more dynamic offenses now, whereas last year they were one of the worst offenses in my opinion in terms of big time weapons. So they've made a 180 in that area. So this is going to be a team to look out for. They're always physical on defense, added some more physicality on defense with the players they got, some more big bodies in there like Terrence, Cody. So I like that. In terms of undrafted free agents, there are 2 guys that have stuck out so far to me. First one's Mike McLaughlin, linebacker out of Boston College. He's a guy that fits their system well, can back up Ray Lewis, and could probably be a reserve inside linebacker if all works out. He's more of a thumper, not overly athletic, but he's very good at his technique and tackling, so I like that. Curtis Steele, running back out of Memphis, is kind of a smaller guy, a guy that reminds me of Maurice Jones-Drew light. He's not quite as strong, not quite as physical as Maurice Jones-Drew, but this is a guy that's very speedy, looks up to D'Angelo Williams, who also went to Memphis. So I think Curtis Steele is an intriguing prospect, and we'll see if he can beat out Jalen Parmley in that Baltimore Ravens team. But as a whole, like the Ravens draft, A-. Thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate it.